What's up, everyone? Today we're looking at some just absolute insanity. Basically, me making this video should not be seen as an endorsement or approval for this kind of thing in any way whatsoever. I'm not telling you, for example, to download anything, and you alone are absolutely and completely responsible for doing whatever it is you do with the information that is presented in this video. So by watching further, you agree to this. I don't have many disclaimers in my videos, so you know it's serious. I hope you're all doing well. And, on this channel, we've talked about various threat actors in the past. Incredibly interesting story developed recently that I really want to get into. So interesting, in fact, that I created this crappy, albeit functional tool because of this very story. A threat actor, so we're clear, is someone not authorized to break into a computer system or a server. I hate putting the label of a black hat hacker on people, mainly because I think that the word has just been completely demonized over the years. Like, my definition of a hacker is someone who tinkers or repurposes a thing to do something different from its original purpose. Someone who steals data, for example, to, sell it or screw up a corporation is completely different. I classify that person as a cyber. This person can use hacking techniques, but doesn't make them a hacker, in my opinion. So we could obviously argue this for hours semantically, I'm absolutely sure, but I just feel that Hollywood's really destroyed the image of a hacker. Or you just talk to, your average 10-year-old nowadays, and they'll tell you that someone who cheats in the game is a hacker. That's absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely not what a hacker is. It's someone who's innovative. If you've ever seen one of those life hacks where someone shows, this cool thing, and you're like, oh, that's awesome, because it's innovative and it's intelligent, that's a great example of a hack. And someone who creates those things, in my opinion, is a hacker. So brass tacks. Today, we're going to be talking about something completely different than I typically talk about, on this channel, which is essentially a threat actor attacking another threat actor website. A threat actor going to war with a bunch of other threat actors on a site. Probably one of my favorite threat actors out there is Intel Broker, hands down. Another one of my top three, though, is USDoD. And this kind of put me in a very interesting and weird situation recently because for some reason or another, USDoD's friend, EMO, as EMO, got angry and, according to USDoD, in turn, started a, quote, war with BreachForums.
War never changes.
And its administration. Specifically, he seemed to get angry at Shiny Hunters, who was an administrator on BreachForums for a very short period of time before leaving and basically handing the site off to someone who's just AFK all the time. So for those of you that don't know, BreachForums is a website that sells breach data, or in some cases, gives it away. It's basically just a forum. If you want to check it out, feel free. It's free and it's not illegal to visit the site, nor is it illegal to have an account on the site. I do both. Typically on this site, threat actors post breach data from companies or governmental agencies that they broke into. So it's kind of an interesting place to be. They may be selling or trading or auctioning the data on this particular forum. Now, due to this self-proclaimed war, USDoD pointing out that his friend had essentially started a war and he was assisting him as part of this war. So USDoD stepped up basically for his friend Emo and hit BreachForums and exfiltrated pretty big parts of the site, including a roster that had a bunch of user information. This was like a master list of sorts of all the users that were actually on the site. The information that was contained in it was things like user IDs, usernames, email addresses that individuals used when they signed up. They had their registration IP addresses in there, that person had when they registered on the site as well. Also the last IP that the individual had actually used when they visited the site. Many people, though, would say, like, this is innocuous information, but I can guarantee you that there are absolutely a ton of people out there that probably wear sunglasses and suits and can absolutely utilize this information. And I have no doubt that there will definitely be some pretty substantial waves because of this. In addition to that, this list of user information is by no means some small media list. It contains a total of 212,214 usernames, email addresses, and IP addresses. So pretty much everyone that's ever had an account on BreachForums. In the past, we've seen, an absolute battle back and forth between BreachForums and the FBI, and a multitude of times that I've lost track of at this point. It's one of the reasons why I stopped, talking about it on this channel. The FBI has taken over the site, including its onion address and its ClearNet address, in addition to various Telegram channels that it also took over. And over time, those things were taken back by the threat actors, which to me is hilarious that the FBI is that incompetent, that they have, this long history of being corrupt and incompetent, but this definitely highlights the latter. I mean, I can't even imagine being an FBI agent right now, watching BreachForums get taken over, being like, yeah, we did it. And then they take it back repeatedly. And, what's your budget in comparison to these threat actors? I mean, you probably have a black budget. So there's that. It's got to be embarrassing as hell for those federal agents. Or they just, maybe they don't care. They can't take this site down, basically, and keep it anyways, which really speaks, again, to the abilities of the individuals participating in the BreachForums community. It's going to be dangerous when you have threat actors that are turning against each other in a self-proclaimed war. Now, all this aside, this isn't even the main focal point for this video. It's just an interesting introduction. The real reason for this video is the fact that the same threat actor, USDoD, not only took the BreachForums database and gave it away, but in addition to that, they also mirrored the data breaches that were posted on BreachForums. And this is how they generate the majority of their revenue. So remember, like, many of these posts solely exist because the threat actors broke into a company or a government organization and stole the data from them. Like, the morality, basically, of this topic specifically is not something that I'm going to concern myself with in this video. They take this data, they upload it, and they sell it on BreachForums, right? And as a result, USDoD grabbed about 181 of these breaches and mirrored them on his own CDN, which is a content distribution network. So what's this mean? Who cares? It means that as of the posting of this video, that absolutely anybody can go and download for free the work of many different threat actors, ranging from some extremely skilled, like Intel Broker, to the novice. For example, you could go and get breach data for free now from some of the most extensive and most insane data breaches of all time that previously had a paywall of sorts. Some of these breaches are absolutely massive. Right off the bat, let's look at some of them. Keep in mind, I haven't inspected the data, and I'm not guaranteeing anything about it. I'm not guaranteeing that this isn't even malware. I don't know. I haven't field tested it, so I don't want to advise that it's safe in any particular way. But looking strictly at some of the social network breaches, for example, the first one we saw was Facebook, and this breach is, from my understanding, a collection of over 500 million users that were affected in various breaches on Facebook. Some of the compromised data is names, phone numbers, email addresses, date of births, locations, and relationships. And this is, 181 breaches, basically, that were done by threat actors that now is out there for absolutely free. So now is a great time to go through and change all those passwords of yours. If you're watching this video, go ahead and pause it and go do that. Now, keep in mind, like I said, there are 181 of these different breaches that contain breach data and or data leaks that could be used, that used to be behind a paywall. And now they're entirely and utterly free for anyone and everyone to get, which is crazy. The downfall with that is that it's not very well organized. So the data, for example, is all in an XML file. You have to go through this XML file and you have to find the end of the URL. You have to grab it, you have to paste it in, and then you have to download it. All of this kind of time consuming and kind of a pain. So when I woke up this morning, I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a program. And like I said before, it's a crappy one, but I made this program super quick and I'm going to show you how to use it. And basically what it does is it organizes this breach data, or it lets you pick particular breaches that you want based off a list that's on the GitHub. So let's check it out. So here we see the tweet where USDoD, and you can see his name here, I protect the hive. My friend EMOs started a war with BreachForums. He's not alone. I joined the part and I will help him. All Shiny Hunter affiliates will be hitting as strong as BF. It is time to take these clowns down out of business. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire gist of it. And here is where I told you about how, he hit the BreachForum database, and this was the link for the actual download, and then the password for it is here. Now you see between that semicolon and / there's a space. There isn't actually a space for the password. So basically we're going to plug it in. Again, I highly suggest that you use an overlay network like Tor if you're going to do this. We see the download, we see it's 5 megabytes. It's not very large because it's just basically a text file with a bunch of text in it. So here you see the password, but there's no actual space between the semicolon and the / and this is the BreachForum database, basically, with, all the users' information. Now, I did blur it out because it should be blurred out. I'm not going to put people on blast like that, but sure, he does just that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I wanted to show that at the end of the day, this is really what it is. There's a ton of stuff here, and it's absolutely insane. And you can see, like I said before, 2012. Here you can see the 212,214. So here we see the post where USDoD actually, said, hello, here's the entire BreachForum CDN on my server, and offers a link to it. So if we take that link and we go there, you can see this is the XML file that I was telling you about. And we can see in this XML file a bunch of different stuff. But one of the things that you'll notice is that you have these keys inside of the brackets right here. And this is where we would grab this and we would plug it in at the end here. And then once we do that, what we'll be greeted with, now you can see this file download is pretty substantial, 286 megabytes. That's because it's a database. So there's a ton of these, obviously, there's 181 of them, that it contains all different types of information, a lot of it with personally identifiable information. So this is the crux of basically what USDoD did. He ended up taking data from BreachForums that they were selling and making it free, essentially, which on one hand kind of irks me because I love the BreachForum community in general. I'm going to copy all this real quick and we'll paste it. I'm going to show you how I went about, creating this actual tool. So the first thing we want to do is basically remove all the lines that don't have the word key in them. Boom. So now you see we have 181 lines, right? It removed 2,179 occurrences. So that's awesome. Much cleaner, right? Much more to the point. But unfortunately, we still have, the key in there. So let's take out the opening tag and the closing tag of the word, with the word key. Boom, done. Okay, now all that's cleaned up. Now we're basically good to go. From here, I created a Python script that did a couple of different things. And if you go over to the actual GitHub, you'll see what those things actually are. So going over to the actual GitHub, which you can find at github.com/doingfedtime/BreachForums, here you'll see that I have the actual program listed. It's just a simple Python script. It's nothing really complicated. I have the README here. We can see, the introduction, which kind of gives people background on it. The disclaimer, which, is a disclaimer. Table of contents, features, and you can see here under features. I don't want to give it all away, but installation is very straightforward. You can see it's 3 steps for the installation. It's not very complex at all. And I did this on Linux Mint. You did it on something else, you can figure it out on that. I use Linux Mint as my main driver, my daily driver. So in this case, I'm using a virtual machine because, like I said before, I don't know if this stuff has malware in it. I don't know. And as always, you should never trust anything, including me. You should verify everything. And I wasn't able to verify anything because I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to make a video about it. Next, we will check out how to actually set up this tool and use it. So I'm going to keep this super simple. We'll get right to the point. I'm going to be relatively quick pace. Feel free to pause it. So, right off the rip, we're going to need to update. So we're going to go ahead and do apt update and upgrade. I'm going to put the syntax separately from where I actually typed it. So if you miss it, you can kind of see it. I'm sorry if it kind of blends in with the white background. My bad. Wait till it's like now and pause it. I sped this up. It's not going to be this fast in your case, and definitely wasn't this fast in my case. And now we're going to install Git, Python 3, Python pip, and basically 7-zip, the full installation. And that's pretty much it. Once we do that, we'll have to, right now, we'll install our libraries. That's just pip3, install, requests, and tqdm. And not, don't do the and part. And that's it. Boom. Like now we have all the requirements. So now we need to actually get the program. And we're going to do that with a Git clone. First, I'm going to CD into my documents because that's where I want to put this. I got crap in my downloads. So we're going to Git clone, and then we're going to put in the URL for where it's located. It should all be one string like you see me typing in. I know it's broken up top, but now we're going to CD into BreachForums folder, which is where the actual Python script is. And we're going to run the Python script. And, when I did it, I didn't need to sudo this. I didn't need a super user, which is pretty awesome. So, Python 3, then the name of the Python script. And look at that. Boom. How awesome is that? So, you see we have 3 options, and then we have an exit option, obviously. So we're going to do number 3, so we can input a name of a database. I'm going to pick that first one that we saw. That was 200-something megabytes. Look how fast this goes. Bam. Done. 250 megabytes downloaded. So now we've, downloaded this breach data. We're going to go in and we're going to go into the folders where it stores it, where, it saves it. I mean, see, it's kind of a, trip to get there, but last thing we're going to run is 7-zip to be able to extract the actual archive. Now, I'm extracting it in real time to show you that it's not instant. I kind of wanted to keep that kind of real. And then I'm going to go into the folder that it created because it extracted it into a folder named that. So we go into that folder, and now what you can see is there's a breach_info, which is what you get when you download from BreachForums. We didn't get this from BreachForums though. So that's interesting. So now we're going to go back and we're going to go into the data folder, and we will ls switch LA. And you can see, look at the size of this. You can see the size of this right here. the size of this actual text file that has the breach data in it. And I will cat it. It'll scroll super fast. I'm going to have to blur out a ton of this, but you get the point. There is a ton of data in here. Obviously, can't really do anything with this data because I'm blurring it out, which is the point. I did Control-C. It was nowhere near done, but I just wanted to give you a quick demonstration of what is actually legit. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to do it here on camera so people know that I actually deleted this breach data. Again, the laws surrounding breach data are kind of tricky. So that's another reason why I'm deleting it, is because I want that to be on record as well. Now, I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm not saying it's legal. It's actually kind of interesting because there's a lot of directives out there about it. There's some guidance from the DOJ is kind of contradictory when it comes to breach data, the possession of it. The use of it is pretty clear cut. Like, you can't steal people's data and then use it for profit. That much is clear. But as far as like downloading it, there is guidance that I've read by the DOJ that states that possession of it is not inherently illegal. So that's the only reason I even was down to make this video. But that's it. That's my tool. That's the news. This is what happens when threat actors go to war. Like, crazy stuff happens and it's like nuclear explosions everywhere around. It's kind of unfortunate. I think as a community, I always dislike seeing communities tear themselves apart. I much rather see them build each other up. Personally, I know, at the end of the day, threat actors, people doing cyber criminal activities of stealing data, your data, and my data, and putting it out there for a profit. I shouldn't like, but at the end of the day, you got to respect them. It's like, it's just, that's a lot of work to do the stuff they do. And a lot of the threat actors that I personally talk to, that I know, they do some pretty incredible acts. So it's just, for me, it's very interesting from that perspective. Like, you might watch TikToks or YouTube shorts or something like that about someone doing construction work, but you might not actually enjoy doing construction work, right? So that's kind of the analogy that I would give for me watching them do this kind of stuff. It's very interesting to see, same reason I guess we watch professional sports. If many people would watch football, I like to watch threat actors. I think they're some of the most interesting people out there. I think they go up against some of the biggest forces out there, and seeing them go against each other it was kind of like watching Anonymous go against the Church of Scientology. It's just an interesting battle to watch, period. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I had a blast really making this one. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of content in the comments below. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, if you dislike it, if you think that I should stick to more exclusively darknet stuff, I really like to know what you guys enjoy, because at the end of the day, like, I like to make content that I enjoy. That's great, but really I'm in this to share my perspective of different things with you and have a back and forth, because I think I've learned more on this YouTube channel than I've learned on the majority of the forums that I've been on for the last 20 years. So I find a lot of value in this channel inherently, and mainly that value comes from, one, me having to research to make sure I don't look like an idiot, but two, from you, the viewer. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.